Hello everyone and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Does the Drew takedown plot endanger Stella and Curtis? According to General Hospital spoilers, the teaser for the week of February 24th to 28th was just released. As sweeps month draws to a close, viewers can anticipate some exciting occurrences in Port Charles. The weekly video includes a variety of themes, including a clip in which Stella Henry informs Curtis Ashford that she has a strategy to defeat Drew Quartermain. Going back a little, on Thursday, February 20th, Curtis asked Stella for a favor. He requested her to arrange a meeting between him and her friend, Congressman Doug Henderson, when she was invited to the Savoy for a nightcap. The Cole's notes on Drew not being the man he once believed him to be were given to Stella by Curtis. He told Stella that Curtis must stop Drew since he has made it apparent that he intends to use his congressional authority to thwart Aurora initiatives. Stella agrees to assist, and it appears that she has come up with a strategy. Is there more to this than simply setting up a meeting between Congressman Henderson and Curtis? Stella is the kind of person who would do everything for her family, but she isn't much of a schemer. Right now, Drew is juggling a lot of things. He appears to be conducting business with some of the less respectable individuals in the little town, such as Jen Sidwell and mob queen bee Selena Wu. Drew's plan to retaliate against Sonny Corinthos and Jason Morgan by moving the Esplanade to their peers and taking control of that region may actually cause a lot of chaos and violence in addition to being a logistical issue for Port Charles. Could Stella put herself and Curtis in the line of fire, depending on her strategy? Curtis was shot in July 2023 while he was just standing next to Sonny, chatting amicably, as fans may remember. What would happen if the two retaliated against Drew and entered his world? Would they possibly ask him to assist with Drew? Because of her closeness with his father, Mike Corbin, Stella is close to the mob leader. According to General Hospital spoilers, as Curtis and Drew's antagonism intensifies over the next 5 days, the metaphorical feces is about to blow up. However, how is Stella going to contribute to this plot, and might this put her in danger? General Hospital spoilers boast Willow Corinthos believes she has made the decision to file for divorce from Michael Corinthos. However, a different picture is painted by the flexibility Nina Reeves strived for with Martin Marty Gray. Willow will continue to convince herself that it is safer to move on with Drew Quartermain as long as she feels as though her marriage is in purgatory because she hasn't completely distanced herself from the previous life she might try to rely on. Until she finds a new, secure spot to land, she won't really need to let go of Michael, right? Maybe, but Nina and Carolee Spencer might push her straight into Drew's arms the more they try to stop her. Spoilers for General Hospital. This isn't a novel behavior pattern. Only Michael has truly realized in recent months that Willow has been codependent for as long as we have known her. Willow hasn't spent much time on her own 2 feet without relying on someone else for support because she was raised in a cult with her mother as her only friend, leaned into an instant family with Michael, used Chase, fell for Drew's hero act, and is now clinging to it after her marriage failed. With every indication that this is a horrible idea staring her in the face, does she have what it takes to end her relationship with Drew? GH spoilers. Carly and Nina push too hard. When Carly and Nina try to dissect Drew and point out all of his shortcomings, they may push Willow farther into his arms despite their best efforts to improve things and help her see the light. Instead of helping Willow feel secure without Drew, they will try to wake her up by downplaying him, failing to recognize that the true issue is her lack of confidence and security. The outcome can backfire, leaving their family dynamic even more damaged than it was before. Spoilers for General Hospital. Fear is a strong motivator. Unfortunately, Willow was left looking for the same thing after witnessing her mother, Harmony Miller, enjoy codependent relationships for years as a child. In retrospect, it's astonishing that Willow would have even considered placing her child for adoption, but she did it because she believed it would be safer for him, despite the fact that it clearly left her in ruins. She might be motivated to act in her children's best interests today by the same fear that drove her to act in her child's best interests back then. But if Willow becomes paralyzed by analysis and is unable to make that choice, who is to tell what is best for them? The most recent General Hospital spoilers for Monday, February 24th through Friday, February 28th are available on soaps.com. Carly is rocked by Joss's decision that changes her life, Jason is forced into a corner, Sunny is given a warning, and Dante delivers distressing news. Continue reading for that and more in Port Charles. Week of February 24th. Spoilers for General Hospital. Spoilers for Monday, February 24th, on General Hospital. According to today's recap, Brooke Lynn tells Lois she told Chas nearly everything, and Jason is set up for Cyrus' disappearance. Jason is not guilty. Laura worries a lot about Port Charles's future. Will she feel less anxious after talking to Sunny? Joss may be a little shaken, which makes sense given that she just killed Cyrus. Trina confides in someone about how she feels about Kai. Jocelyn feels uneasy. Trina talks candidly about Kai. It appears like Dante will have to deliver some fairly unsettling news. What unannounced guests will soon arrive at Ava's house? Want to see more previews of General Hospital? You do, of course. So here you go. Spoilers for Tuesday, February 25th, on General Hospital. Regardless of their past interactions, Drew can't help but find Nina annoying. A cancer update from All My Children's Favorites says, I'm feeling a mix of gratitude, disbelief, and numbness. From here, where do Brennan and Carly go? They will talk about precisely that today. Chris McKenna claims that nothing compares to this, despite the fact that his plot is hot. Portia and Jordan find each other again. As the walls enclose him, Jason is undoubtedly feeling the strain. Will Alexis's request be fulfilled by the person to whom it is addressed? Spoilers for Wednesday, February 26th on General Hospital. Trina and Kai are growing closer, and romance is in the air. And kiss each other. Carly and Willow end up pleading with each other. Does Jocelyn's important choice relate to the discussion she had about her future with Jack? Chase's wife will be caught off guard by the proposal he is going to make. Tracy is after Drew, so he might want to keep an eye on himself. Does Curtis' recent request for a favor from his aunt play a part in Stella's surprise for him? Will he be able to use it to advance his campaign against Drew? Spoilers for Thursday, February 27th, on General Hospital. What or who has Lulu wary and raised her hackles? Having Stella there to confide in makes Trina happy. Sunny is going to get a warning from someone. Are Anna, Laura, and Jordan concerned that trouble may be coming to town because of this? And is Carly's tense sensation related to the predicament that is developing? Dante shows Chase that he is a good friend. Spoilers for Friday, February 28th, on General Hospital. It should come as no surprise that Ava and Christina are at odds. Sasha receives an apology. Will the sparks we've witnessed fly in the past reappear when Molly and Cody have an open conversation? Is there any chance Olivia and Carly will work together again? Perhaps if Carly finds Ned's wife's proposal appealing. Isaiah wants to ask Jordan some questions. Lisa Locicero started her February 23rd Instagram post with the words, "There will never be another like her." The leading lady from General Hospital had just returned from a memorial service for Leslie Charleson, who died in January at the age of 79 after playing Monica Quartermain since 1977. Olivia's portrayal went on to say that it was a beautiful celebration for a beautiful soul, with Wally Kurth providing the music in particular. As you are undoubtedly aware, Kurth, who plays Ned on General Hospital, is a talented musician who plays with his Days of Our Lives co-stars, including Justin, in the band The Day Players. For decades he collaborated closely with Charleson. At one time their characters even had a liaison. Charleson, a native of Kansas City, Missouri, began her career in entertainment in 1964, after landing a recurring role on A Flame in the Wind. She signed a deal 2 years later to play Alice Whipple, Don Hughes' stepdaughter on As the World Turns. After that performance, the rising star went on to Love Is a Many-Splendored Thing, where she had a great opportunity to shine as Iris Donnelly, the good girl, from 1967 until 1970. According to General Hospital News, the critics have undoubtedly spoken. This is due to the large number of viewers who think that the revival of Lucky has been a complete and utter failure. For all the information you require, continue reading below. Spoilers for General Hospital. Was bringing back Lucky a complete failure? As his family anxiously awaits an update on his condition, Lucky has been struggling for his life, as viewers of the most recent episode of General Hospital will know. Many have questioned if he might withstand a lethal dosage of digitalis as a result of this. Although it is obvious that his life is in jeopardy at the moment, many critics believe that Lucky should have a far greater plot, than what the General Hospital writers have given him thus far. Naturally, there was a lot of discussion about this plotline on the internet. Even the comment, bringing him back was an abject failure, was made by some detractors. He had to be sent to PC instead of Luke/Laura's son Elizabeth's ex. He is not a good fit. Since there is no chemistry, Elizabeth deserves better. We'll see if he improves as a father. JH is making history. Duty February sweeps. He can live, but not with Elizabeth, remarked another critic. In this case, co-parenting is the superior choice. You believe that his reappearance would boost ratings. They didn't, in fact. Do better, please. No Elizabeth and Lucky. General Hospital spoilers. What's actually happening with Port Charles's Lucky? Additionally, there was the following comment. I was glad that he was back, but what was the point of bringing him back if you were going to kill him now? Not only is this plot point dull, it's absolutely absurd. Drew takedown plot puts Stella and Curtis in danger? The tension in the air was palpable as Drew finalized his plan. For weeks, he had been meticulously crafting a strategy to take down a powerful adversary, someone who had wronged him in ways that cut deeper than he cared to admit. Drew was a man of principle, but his principles often walked a fine line between justice and vengeance. This time, however, his plan was not just about settling a personal score. It was about dismantling a corrupt empire that had plagued their city for far too long. What Drew didn't anticipate was how his actions would inadvertently put two of the most important people in his life in grave danger, Stella and Curtis. Stella and Curtis were more than just friends to Drew. They were his anchors, the people who kept him grounded when his world threatened to spiral out of control. Stella, with her sharp wit and unwavering loyalty, had been by Drew's side through thick and thin. Curtis, on the other hand, was the voice of reason, the one who always urged caution and reminded Drew of the bigger picture. Together, the trio formed an unbreakable bond, but Drew's latest scheme was about to test that bond in ways none of them could have imagined. The takedown plot, a dangerous game. Drew's target was Victor Kane, a ruthless businessman with ties to organized crime. Kane's empire was built on a foundation of exploitation, corruption, and violence. He had his fingers in every pie, from illegal arms dealing to money laundering, and he had managed to evade the law for years. Drew had personal reasons for wanting to bring Kane down. Years ago, Kane had destroyed Drew's family, leaving him with nothing but a burning desire for justice. Now Drew was ready to strike back. The plan was simple in theory but perilous in execution. Drew had gathered enough evidence to expose Kane's operations, but he needed to lure Kane into a trap. To do this, Drew had to infiltrate Kane's inner circle, a move that required him to play a dangerous double game. He knew the risks, but he was willing to take them. What he didn't account for was how his actions would ripple out and affect those closest to him. Stella, the unintended target. Stella had always been Drew's confidant, the one person he trusted implicitly. She was fiercely independent and had a knack for getting herself out of tricky situations, but this time she was in over her head. When Drew's plan began to unravel, Kane's men started digging into Drew's life, looking for leverage. It didn't take long for them to discover Stella's connection to Drew. One evening, as Stella was leaving her apartment, she was ambushed by two of Kane's enforcers. They dragged her into a waiting car and sped off, leaving no trace behind. When Drew received the news, his heart sank. He had always known that his actions could have consequences, but he never imagined that Stella would pay the price. Now, with Stella's life hanging in the balance, Drew was forced to confront the harsh reality of his choices. Curtis, caught in the crossfire. Curtis, meanwhile, had been trying to talk Drew out of his reckless plan from the very beginning. He understood Drew's desire for justice, but he also knew that Kane was not an enemy to be taken lightly. Curtis had seen firsthand the devastation Kane could wreak, and he feared that Drew's single-minded focus would lead to disaster. Unfortunately, his fears were about to be realized. As Drew scrambled to rescue Stella, Curtis found himself drawn into the fray. Kane's men, desperate to stop Drew, turned their attention to Curtis, hoping to use him as bait. Curtis was no stranger to danger, but this was different. This wasn't just about survival, it was about protecting the people he cared about. With Stella missing and Drew on the verge of losing control, Curtis knew he had to step up and take charge. The stakes, a race against time. The clock was ticking and every second counted. Drew's takedown plot had set off a chain reaction, and now Stella and Curtis were caught in the crossfire. Cain, realizing that Drew was closing in, became increasingly desperate. He ordered his men to eliminate anyone who stood in his way, and that included Stella and Curtis. For Drew, the stakes had never been higher. He had started this mission with a clear goal in mind, but now it was no longer just about taking down Cain. It was about saving the people he loved. The weight of his decisions bore down on him, and he began to question whether his quest for vengeance was worth the cost. The turning point: a dangerous showdown. The climax of the story came in the form of a high-stakes showdown at Cain's headquarters. Drew, armed with the evidence he had gathered, confronted Cain in a final bid to bring him down. But Cain was ready. He had anticipated Drew's move and had set a trap of his own. As the two men faced off, the tension reached a boiling point. Meanwhile, Curtis had managed to track down Stella's location. With the help of a few trusted allies, he launched a daring rescue mission. The odds were against them, but Curtis was determined to save Stella, no matter the cost. The rescue operation was fraught with danger, and Curtis had to rely on his wits and resourcefulness to outmaneuver Cain's men. The aftermath: lessons learned. In the end, Drew succeeded in bringing Cain to justice, but the victory came at a heavy price. Stella and Curtis had narrowly escaped with their lives, but the experience had left them shaken. Drew, too, was forced to reckon with the consequences of his actions. He had achieved his goal, but at what cost? The ordeal served as a wake-up call for Drew. He realized that his pursuit of justice had blinded him to the risks he was taking, not just for himself but for the people he cared about. It was a hard lesson to learn, but one that he would carry with him for the rest of his life. For Stella and Curtis, the experience strengthened their bond with Drew, but it also made them more cautious. They had always known that Drew's sense of justice could lead him down a dangerous path, but now they understood just how far he was willing to go. Moving forward, they vowed to keep a closer eye on Drew, and to remind him of the importance of balance and restraint. Themes and reflections. The story of Drew's takedown plot and its impact on Stella and Curtis is a cautionary tale about the dangers of obsession and the unintended consequences of our actions. It explores themes of loyalty, sacrifice, and the cost of justice. Drew's journey serves as a reminder that even the noblest of intentions can lead to devastating outcomes if not tempered by wisdom and foresight. Stella and Curtis, as the emotional anchors of the story, highlight the importance of human connection and the need for balance in our lives. Their experiences underscore the idea that no man is an island, and that our actions have a ripple effect on those around us. Conclusion: a new beginning. As the dust settled, Drew, Stella, and Curtis found themselves at a crossroads. The events of the past few weeks had changed them in ways they were still trying to understand. They had faced danger, loss, and betrayal, but they had also discovered the strength of their bond and the resilience of their spirits. For Drew, the journey was far from over. He had taken down Victor Cain, but there were still battles to fight and wrongs to right. This time, however, he would not go it alone. With Stella and Curtis by his side, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that together, they could overcome anything. The story of Drew's takedown plot and its impact on Stella and Curtis is a testament to the power of friendship, the importance of balance, and the enduring human spirit. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope, and that with courage and determination, we can emerge stronger than ever. Willow's codependency crisis. Nina and Carly fuel the fire? In the ever-dramatic world of soap operas, few storylines captivate audiences like those involving complex relationships, emotional turmoil, and the intricate web of codependency. One such storyline that has recently taken center stage is Willow's codependency crisis, a narrative that delves deep into the psychological and emotional struggles of its characters. As the plot unfolds, it becomes increasingly evident that Nina and Carly, two pivotal figures in Willow's life, are not merely bystanders but active participants who inadvertently, or perhaps intentionally, fuel the fire of her codependency. This essay will explore the nuances of Willow's codependency crisis, the roles played by Nina and Carly, and the broader implications of their actions on Willow's emotional well-being. Understanding codependency. Before delving into the specifics of Willow's situation, it is essential to understand what codependency entails. Codependency is a behavioral condition in a relationship where one person enables another person's addiction, poor mental health, immaturity, irresponsibility, or underachievement. Among the core characteristics of codependency is an excessive reliance on other people for approval and a sense of identity. Codependent individuals often find themselves in relationships that are one-sided, emotionally destructive, and/or abusive. In the context of Willow's storyline, her codependency manifests in her relationships with those around her, particularly with Nina and Carly. Willow's need for validation, her fear of abandonment, and her tendency to prioritize others' needs over her own are all hallmarks of codependent behavior. As the narrative progresses, it becomes clear that her relationships with Nina and Carly are not just supportive, but are also contributing to her ongoing emotional struggles. Willow's background and emotional struggles. Willow's character has always been portrayed as someone who is deeply empathetic and caring, often to her own detriment. Her background, marked by a series of traumatic events and unstable relationships, has shaped her into someone who seeks stability and validation from those around her. This need for external validation has made her particularly vulnerable to codependent relationships. Throughout the series, Willow has been involved in various relationships that have further entrenched her codependent tendencies. Whether it's her romantic relationships or her friendships, Willow often finds herself in situations where she is giving more than she is receiving, leading to an imbalance that exacerbates her emotional struggles. Her interactions with Nina and Carly are no exception, and as the storyline unfolds, it becomes evident that these relationships are playing a significant role in her codependency crisis. Nina's role in Willow's codependency. Nina, a character known for her manipulative tendencies and complex motivations, plays a crucial role in Willow's codependency crisis. Nina's relationship with Willow is multifaceted, characterized by moments of genuine care and concern, but also by manipulation and emotional exploitation. Nina's own insecurities and desire for control often lead her to engage in behaviors that reinforce Willow's codependent tendencies. One of the ways in which Nina fuels Willow's codependency is through her constant need for validation and support. Nina often turns to Willow in times of crisis, relying on her for emotional support and guidance. While this may seem like a normal aspect of a close relationship, the dynamic between Nina and Willow is skewed. Nina's reliance on Willow is disproportionate, and she often fails to reciprocate the same level of support when Willow is in need. This one-sided dynamic reinforces Willow's belief that her worth is tied to her ability to care for others. Moreover, Nina's manipulative tendencies often lead her to exploit Willow's empathetic nature. Whether it's through guilt-tripping, emotional blackmail, or subtle manipulation, Nina knows how to push Willow's buttons to get what she wants. This manipulation not only exacerbates Willow's codependency, but also creates a toxic environment where Willow feels trapped and unable to assert her own needs and boundaries. Carly's role in Willow's codependency. Carly, another central figure in Willow's life, also plays a significant role in her codependency crisis. Carly's relationship with Willow is complex, marked by moments of genuine friendship and support, but also by moments of tension and conflict. Carly's strong personality and tendency to take charge often lead her to overshadow Willow, further reinforcing Willow's codependent tendencies. One of the ways in which Carly fuels Willow's codependency is through her tendency to take control of situations, often without considering Willow's feelings or opinions. Carly's need to be in charge and her belief that she knows what's best for everyone often lead her to make decisions on Willow's behalf, leaving Willow feeling powerless and invalidated. This dynamic reinforces Willow's belief that her own needs and desires are secondary to those of others, further entrenching her codependent behaviors. Additionally, Carly's own struggles and insecurities often lead her to rely on Willow for emotional support. While Carly is a strong and independent character, she is not immune to moments of vulnerability, and she often turns to Willow in these times. However, much like Nina, Carly's reliance on Willow is often one-sided, and she fails to reciprocate the same level of support when Willow is in need. This imbalance further reinforces Willow's codependent tendencies, as she continues to prioritize Carly's needs over her own. The broader implications of Nina and Carly's actions. The actions of Nina and Carly have broader implications for Willow's emotional well-being and her ability to break free from her codependent behaviors. Both Nina and Carly, in their own ways, contribute to an environment where Willow's needs are consistently overlooked, and her sense of self-worth is tied to her ability to care for others. This dynamic not only perpetuates Willow's codependency, but also creates a cycle of emotional exhaustion and burnout. Moreover, the toxic dynamics in Willow's relationships with Nina and Carly serve as a microcosm of the broader issues surrounding codependency. Codependency is often perpetuated by the actions of those around the codependent individual, whether intentionally or unintentionally. In Willow's case, Nina and Carly's behaviors reinforce her codependent tendencies, making it increasingly difficult for her to break free from the cycle. Breaking the cycle, the path to healing. For Willow to overcome her codependency crisis, it is essential for her to recognize the toxic dynamics in her relationships with Nina and Carly and take steps to establish healthier boundaries. This process will not be easy, as it requires Willow to confront her own fears and insecurities, as well as the behaviors of those around her. However, with the right support and guidance, it is possible for Willow to break free from the cycle of codependency and establish healthier, more balanced relationships. One of the first steps in this process is for Willow to seek therapy or counseling. A trained therapist can help Willow explore the root causes of her codependency, as well as provide her with the tools and strategies she needs to establish healthier boundaries. Therapy can also help Willow develop a stronger sense of self-worth and self-esteem, reducing her reliance on external validation. Additionally, Willow will need to work on asserting her own needs and desires in her relationships with Nina and Carly. This will require her to have difficult conversations and set clear boundaries, which may be met with resistance from both Nina and Carly. However, establishing these boundaries is essential for Willow's emotional well-being and her ability to break free from the cycle of codependency. Conclusion: Willow's codependency crisis is a complex and multifaceted storyline that delves deep into the psychological and emotional struggles of its characters. As the narrative unfolds, it becomes increasingly evident that Nina and Carly, two pivotal figures in Willow's life, are not merely bystanders but active participants who inadvertently, or perhaps intentionally, fuel the fire of her codependency. Their actions, whether through manipulation, emotional exploitation, or one-sided reliance, reinforce Willow's codependent tendencies and create a toxic environment where her needs are consistently overlooked. For Willow to overcome her codependency crisis, it is essential for her to recognize the toxic dynamics in her relationships with Nina and Carly and take steps to establish healthier boundaries. This process will not be easy, but with the right support and guidance, it is possible for Willow to break free from the cycle of codependency and establish healthier, more balanced relationships. As the storyline continues to unfold, audiences will undoubtedly be captivated by Willow's journey towards healing and self-discovery, as well as the evolving dynamics between her, Nina, and Carly. Molly Bonds. Molly Lansing Davis had always prided herself on being the level-headed, responsible one in her family. As an assistant district attorney, she upheld the law, fighting for justice in Port Charles. But lately, her personal life was more complicated than she ever imagined. After deciding to move forward with surrogacy, Molly found herself growing closer to the woman carrying her child. At first, it was a simple bond over shared excitement, but as time passed, Molly realized she had a deep admiration and respect for her surrogate. TJ Ashford, Molly's longtime partner, was supportive, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was shifting. Was Molly developing an emotional attachment beyond what was appropriate? Or was this just a manifestation of her longing for motherhood? Molly was at a crossroads. She had to decide how much of her heart she was willing to give away, and whether her commitment to TJ could withstand this emotional turmoil. Josh Choice. Jocelyn Jacks had never been afraid to speak her mind, but love had never been more complicated. After everything she had been through with Dex Heller, she wasn't sure if she could fully trust him. Sonny Corintho's world was dangerous, and despite Dex's efforts to prove he was his own man, his ties to the mob world still loomed over them. Meanwhile, Adam, a new charming med student, had entered Joss' life at the perfect moment. He was stable, kind, and had nothing to do with Sonny's underworld dealings. For the first time, she wondered if love could be simple, if she could be happy with someone who wasn't constantly looking over his shoulder. With her heart torn between passion and stability, Joss had to make a choice. Would she risk it all for Dex, Or would she take a chance on something new with Adam? Jason's mess. Jason Morgan had spent years cleaning up other people's messes. This time the mess was his own.